Hello and welcome to Renegade Files, your cool connection to all the weirdness in the world. I'm your host, Lex Gordon, broadcasting from the Jungle Villa Outpost, deep in the uncharted tropics. You are now in the company of outcasts. This is Renegade Files episode 105, The Dark Side of Christmas, and it is a short drives episode just for you in this busy holiday season. The short drives episodes come out now and then. They are condensed, no fanfare, and down and dirty fun made so we can grab some Renegade Files on the run and keep on trucking. Forgive a brother for a mistake or two, and let's get into this one. This short drives episode is my Christmas present to you for being a fan. Thank you so much for supporting Renegade Files in all the ways that you do. Real fast, and before we start, I'd like to mention, right now we're conducting a follower drive. It's simple, totally free for you to help, and takes literal seconds. My goal is to build our followers on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you're listening. This helps people find Renegade Files, because more followers means that the platforms show us to more listeners. On Spotify, tap Renegade Files under the episode title and then hit follow. On Apple Podcasts, open an episode, tap the three dots at the top right, hit Go to Show, then hit those three dots again and tap Follow. Anywhere else, just tap Follow on the show's page, or maybe Subscribe in places like YouTube. If you could please do this as a favor to me, you can help Renegade Files hit our goal of getting to 100,000 followers. If you're already a follower, you can still help by sending your friends to therenegadefiles.com and suggesting that they follow us on their favorite platform, because following Renegade Files is free, easy, and keeps you connected to new episodes. Thank you so much. Without further ado, let's get into this one. This episode takes us into the darker folklore that has always walked beside the Christmas season. Long before shopping lists and glowing ornaments, winter was a time of hunger, fear, and judgment. The stories told during these nights were meant to warn, to discipline, and to explain things that moved unseen in the cold. Part 1. Krampus. High in the alpine regions of Austria-Bavaria and neighboring territories, the arrival of December once carried with it a presence far older than St. Nicholas. As snow-buried mountain passes and villages were sealed off from the outside world, people prepared not only for celebration but for visitation. This visitor did not come quietly. He came with horns, hooves, and the sound of bells and rattling chains echoing through the frozen streets. His name was Krampus. Descriptions of Krampus vary slightly by region, but the core image remains the same. He is tall, hulking, animalistic. He has the legs and hooves of a goat, and a long tongue, sharp teeth, and twisted horns that curl back from his skull. His body is covered in dark fur, and chains hang from his waist, clanking as he moves through the night. In traditional folklore, Krampus appears during the first half of December, particularly on the night of December 5th, known as Krampusnacht. This is the eve of St. Nicholas Day, when St. Nicholas was believed to visit homes and reward well-behaved children. Krampus followed close behind. And where St. Nicholas offered gifts, Krampus offered punishment. Children who were good might receive fruit, nuts, or sweets in their shoes. Children who misbehaved could find only sticks, switches, or nothing at all. In the most severe legends, Krampus carried a sack or a basket on his back and used it to carry away the worst kids. Where those children were taken, no one knows, which made the threat all the more effective. Krampus did not operate in secrecy. In Alpine villages, young men dressed as Krampus and took to the streets in organized events called Krampuslauf or Krampus runs. These were loud, chaotic affairs. Participants wore carved wooden masks with grotesque expressions, long horns, and animal skins. Heavy bells were strapped to their bodies so that their movements could be heard blocks away. They ran through the towns, rattling chains, shouting, and sometimes striking spectators with sticks. Alcohol flowed freely during these events, and the line between ritual and chaos was often blurred. Still, the Krampus runs persisted for centuries, surviving religious reformations, political upheaval, and attempts at canceling them. Authorities periodically tried to ban Krampus celebrations, calling them pagan, immoral, and dangerous. Each time, the tradition would fade briefly, only to return stronger than before. By the 19th century, Krampus appeared on postcards, which showed him leering at children, carrying them in sacks, or looming over snowy villages. These images reveal something important. Krampus was never meant to be hidden. He was meant to be seen. He embodied consequence. He was the reminder that winter can be unforgiving and that survival requires discipline, obedience, and respect. Krampus endures today because the idea still resonates. The horned visitor reminds us that celebration and fear once shared the same calendar and that the darkest stories were told by firelight for a reason. Part 2. Marie Luide. Across the sea in Wales, another winter figure emerged from the long nights of December. Unlike Krampus, this visitor did not stomp through the snow in chains. Instead, it arrived singing. The Marie Luide appears as a horse's skull, mounted on a pole, draped in a white sheet, decorated with ribbons, bells, and sometimes glass eyes. The skull's jaw is often hinged, allowing it to open and snap closed as it moves. Carried by a group of people, the Marie Luide travels from house to house during the Christmas season. Its origins are uncertain, but the tradition predates Christianity. Horses held deep symbolic meaning in Celtic cultures, associated with the land, fertility, death, and the underworld. The adorned Marie Luide horse's skull creature is shocking to see. A skull stripped of flesh yet animated through ritual suggests a boundary being crossed between life and death. When the Marie Luide arrives at a home, the group outside sings songs, demanding entry into the house. The people inside respond with songs of their own, refusing admittance. This exchange is a sort of battle of song and rhyme. The contest can go on for several minutes, with each side improvising clever insults and defenses. Eventually, the household relents, and the Marie Luide is allowed inside. Once admitted, the group carrying the Marie Louise is offered food and drinks. The horse skull snaps at people playfully, lunging forward, chattering its bony teeth. The weaving of fear is seeded throughout the room. But laughter follows. Beneath this, there's a humor. There's something older and stranger than just fear. It's the humorous sort of acceptance of fear. The Marie Louise is not a mascot. It's a threshold figure. Its arrival marks a transitional time when the old year is dying and the new year is not yet here. It lets the Marie Louise inside to bring good fortune, fertility, and protect for the coming year. This is a very sort of contradictory tradition. Refusing entry to the Marie Louise carries an unspoken risk. Some folklore experts suggest the Marie Louise represents the wandering dead, or the spirit of winter itself, seeking warmth and recognition. Others believe it's a memory of an animal sacrifice, or rituals transformed into communal performance. The skull, bleached and hollow, stares from beneath its cloth like a reminder that death walks beside us all, especially in winter. The tradition may have faded during industrialization, when villages were disrupted and old customs were discouraged, but in recent decades, Marie Louise has returned, revived as a cultural celebration. Modern performances are often joyful, yet even now, there's something unsettling about a horse skull snapping its jaws. The Marie Louise doesn't threaten directly, it asks. It requests to come inside. It waits at the door until it's invited. But winter folklore often works this way. It doesn't chase, it just kind of arrives. The Marie Louise brings with it the contrast of good and bad that we all live with in life. It's a freaky, weird, scary, somehow fun tradition. So if you see a horse's skull at your door before Christmas, maybe let it in and give it a drink. Or maybe lock the door and run and hide. Part 3. The Pagan Wild Hunt. As December nights stretch longer across northern Europe, the sky itself becomes a source of fear. Storm winds howl through the forest. Snow whips across the open ground, and people stay indoors after dark for reasons more than the cold. Something is listening. The wild hunt is a widespread European myth found in Germanic, North, Celtic, and Anglo-Saxon traditions. It describes a spectral process, a ride through the winter sky, a parade, often during the 12 nights between Christmas and Epiphany. The hunters in the sky are said to be the dead, the gods, or the damned souls, charging through the air with hounds, horses, and fearsome weapons. The leader of the wild hunt changes depending on the region. In some stories, it's Odin, riding his 8-legged horse, gathering fallen warriors. In others, it's Herne the hunter, the horned figure, associated with forests and death. Elsewhere, the leader is a cursed king, a fallen noble, or a demonic figure whose name is never spoken. Those who see the wild hunt risk dire consequences. Witnesses might be carried away, struck dead, or cursed with madness. Sometimes the wild hunt drops body parts, bones, or limbs to the ground. Finding these remains an omen of misfortune, illness, and death. The wild hunt is also believed to collect souls, the dead who have not passed on, or those who died violently during the year are swept up into the hunt. In this way, the wild hunt functions as a moving boundary between the worlds, clearing the landscape for the year to come. People take precautions, doors are locked, fires are stoked, offerings are left outside to appease the riders. In some regions, it's forbidden to hang laundry outdoors during the 12 nights, as this could be mistaken for shrouds or souls and bring the deathly host into your household. Christianity attempted to absorb or suppress the wild hunt, but traces remain embedded in seasonal traditions. Santa Claus flying through the sky with animals. These are ghostly riders. They're even the idea of judgment traveling during Christmas night. All of these images echo the wild hunt. The wild hunt embodies motion, potential violence, and inevitability. It doesn't stop for towns or people. It passes overhead, reminding those below that winter belongs to forces far beyond human control. Even now, when winter storms roar through the forests, and when the wind screams down empty roads, this idea of the wild hunt lingers. Something ancient moves with the weather. Something hunts when the year is dying. And long ago, people listened carefully, hoping that that sound would peacefully pass them by. Part 4. The Yule Cat. In Iceland, winter has never been gentle. Long nights stretch across the land, storms roll in from the sea without warning, and survival has always depended on preparation, labor, and timing. One of the most feared figures of the Icelandic Christmas season is the Yule Cat. The Yule Cat isn't described in great detail in early sources, which may be part of its power. It's said to be enormous, far larger than any normal cat, more like a lion or a tiger, with eyes that glow in the darkness and fur that blends into the winter night. It moves silently across the snowy fields and between isolated farmhouses. It's unseen, but it's always present. The rule associated with the Yule Cat is simple. Any person who doesn't make new clothes by Christmas Eve is at risk. Those who fail this test are eaten. On the surface, this story sounds like a moral tale aimed at children, but beneath it lies a harsher reality shaped by Iceland's history. For centuries, survival in Iceland depended on the successful processing of wool before winter. Sheep shearing, spinning, weaving, and sewing had to be completed before the cold set in. New clothes weren't just luxury, they were proof of work completed and preparation achieved. If a household produced enough clothing, it meant the family had labored successfully through the year. If they did not, it suggested laziness, misfortune, or failure, all of which could lead to death during the harsh winters. The Yule Cat enforced this reality. It wasn't interested in gifts or celebration. It hunted those who had fallen behind, those who hadn't prepared properly, and the people whose households had failed to meet the demands of the season. In this way, the Yule Cat functioned as both predator and warning. Stories describe the Yule Cat prowling through villages on Christmas Eve, peering through windows, sniffing at doorways, and listening. It's said to know who received new clothes and who did not. Some versions claim it could see through the walls. Others say it followed the scent of unworked wool. The Yule Cat didn't need to be seen to be feared. The idea that something massive and vicious moved silently outside while families slept was enough. Parents reminded children of the Yule Cat when winter work started to drag behind. When they got lazy or tired or complained, elders spoke of the Yule Cat when storms arrived early or food supplies began to run low. Unlike Krampus, the Yule Cat did not announce itself with bells. It didn't knock or sing. It didn't chase crowds through the street, it just waited. The Yule Cat is often linked to a larger network of Icelandic winter figures, particularly the giant Grelia and her son, or sons, or Gryla, I guess. Gryla was said to boil misbehaving children in a cauldron, while her sons played tricks and stole food. The Yule Cat was actually Gryla's companion in some stories, extending the reach of punishment beyond behavior and into survival itself. In rural folklore, adults were not immune to the Yule Cat. A grown person who failed to contribute to the household's winter preparations could fall under the Yule Cat's gaze just as easily as a child. The message was clear. Everyone worked or everyone suffered. Over time, the Yule Cat became embedded in Icelandic Christmas tradition. Poems and stories preserved the legend, and later retellings softened the edges for modern sensibilities. Today, the Yule Cat can sometimes appear as a whimsical symbol depicted in art and decorations. But the original idea was more unsettling. A massive animal, unseen, stalking a snowbound landscape where families sleep, judging them not by belief or virtue, but by whether they had done enough to survive. The Yule Cat doesn't roar. It doesn't rattle chains or fly through the sky. It moves quietly, patiently, and inevitably. Its presence reflects a truth that winter once enforced without mercy. If you're not ready, something will come for you. And in Icelandic folklore, that something has fur, glowing eyes, and an appetite sharpened by the cold. Wow! Watch out. So, that sort of wraps up the content for this episode. And it's fun. Christmas is a great time, but we sort of get caught up in the commercialism. That's a Charlie Brown lesson, right? We sort of have our own traditions. Beautiful decorations, lights, trees, but there's always something dark at the end of the year. And all of these older pagan traditions are what we built our Christmas traditions on. People brought Christmas trees inside the house, an evergreen specifically, to remind them that things can survive the winter because back in the day, you could die over the winter just by virtue of not having food, the harsh conditions, the cold, and all the things that a serious winter can bring. So our darkest Halloween traditions move into the winter because Halloween is just the beginning. The real winter, the real dark, the real depth, the real cold comes at the very, very end of the year. And Christmas in this way is often a warning. Be safe. Be good. Do the right things during the year so that you have enough to get through the winter. In our modern day, it's not that situation as much anymore, right? But those old dark traditions are still there if you look. It's kind of cool. They're not top shelf Christmas in Walmart, but they're there for those weirdos who like weird stuff, and that's me and you. And thank you so much for listening. This was Renegade Files episode 105, The Dark Side of Christmas, a short drive episode. Thanks for taking it with me. Thank you for visiting the RFA agency on Patreon, and thank you deeply if you're an agent there already. Be sure to quickly tap follow wherever you're listening and help me in the follower drive. This means a lot. I hope you have a joyous, safe, and fun holiday season. Make sure you're good, watch out for Krampus, and I'll see you next week with a new, full episode. Until then, I'm your host, Lex Gordon. Stay wild, elf child.